Mythic Whispers.
The dark origin of the Wendigo explained.
What if I told you there's a creature so terrifying that just thinking about it was once believed to be enough to summon it? A monster born not from magic, but from hunger, desperation, and the darkest parts of the human mind. A creature that doesn't just eat people, it turns people into monsters. This is the Wendigo. And today, we're going deep into the dark, disturbing, and often misunderstood origin of one of the most terrifying legends ever told. By the end of this video, you might never look at winter or hunger the same way again. What is the Wendigo really? When most people hear Wendigo, they imagine a tall, skeletal monster, antlers on its head, glowing eyes, a walking nightmare straight out of a horror movie. But here's the twist. That version isn't the original Wendigo. The real Wendigo comes from the folklore of several Algonquian-speaking indigenous tribes in North America, including the Cree, Ojibwe, and Algonquin peoples. And in those stories, the Wendigo wasn't just a monster. It was a warning, a symbol, a reminder of what happens when humans cross a certain line. At its core, the Wendigo represents extreme greed, selfishness, loss of humanity, and most importantly, cannibalism. Not accidental, not survival-based, but choosing to consume another human and liking it. The birth of a Wendigo. So how does someone become a Wendigo? According to traditional stories, it usually starts in the dead of winter. Food is gone. Animals have migrated. The cold is brutal. Days are short. Nights are endless. And starvation begins to mess with the mind. At first, it's just hunger. Then, hallucinations. Then, desperation. And finally, a choice. A person eats human flesh. The moment that happens, something changes. Their body begins to twist. Their heart turns cold, literally. Some stories say it freezes solid. Their hunger becomes endless. No matter how much they eat, it's never enough. And slowly, the person loses their soul and becomes a Wendigo. Here's the truly terrifying part. The Wendigo isn't driven by hunger alone. It's driven by desire. A craving that can never be satisfied. The original appearance. Forget the antlers for a second. In the earliest stories, Wendigos didn't look cool or cinematic. They were horrifying in a very human way. Descriptions often include skin stretched tight over bones, sunken eyes, ash gray or frost-bitten flesh, lips torn or missing from constant biting, a smell of decay and cold. They were tall, but only because they were unnaturally thin. Like starvation itself had taken physical form. Some legends say they grew taller every time they ate someone, but they never gained weight. Just more hunger, more emptiness.
The psychological horror.
This is where the Wendigo legend gets really disturbing, because it might not be supernatural at all. There's something known as Wendigo Psychosis. It's a rare condition reported among people in extreme isolation and starvation, especially in cold environments. Symptoms include intense fear of becoming a cannibal, obsessive thoughts about eating human flesh, paranoia, hallucinations, a belief that one has already become a Wendigo. Some people would beg to be killed, terrified that they'd hurt their loved ones. Imagine that, being so afraid of what you might do that death feels safer. Whether Wendigo psychosis is real or exaggerated is still debated, but what matters is this. The legend reflects a real human fear, that under the right conditions, anyone could become a monster.
Real-life Wendigo cases.
Now let's talk about something chilling. There are real historical cases where people were accused of being Wendigos. The most famous is Swift Runner, a Cree man from the 1870s. During a brutal winter, Swift Runner killed and ate his entire family, even though food supplies were available nearby.
When confronted, he claimed he was possessed by the Wendigo spirit. He was later executed. To his community, this wasn't just murder. It was proof that the Wendigo was real. Whether supernatural or psychological, the result was the same. Lives destroyed.
Why the Wendigo fears still matter.
So why does the Wendigo still haunt us today? Because it represents something timeless, unchecked greed, consuming more than we need, taking without caring who gets hurt. Sound familiar? Some people even see the Wendigo as a metaphor for capitalism, environmental destruction, overconsumption, moral decay. The Wendigo isn't just a monster from the woods. It's a mirror. And it asks a very uncomfortable question. How far would you go to survive?
Modern misrepresentations.
Modern movies and games turn the Wendigo into a cool creature with antlers and supernatural powers. And while that version is scary, it misses the point. The real horror of the Wendigo isn't how it looks. It's the fact that it used to be human.
Final thought.
The Wendigo legend was never meant to entertain. It was meant to warn. A story told around fires in freezing winters. Not to scare people for fun, but to remind them what happens when we abandon empathy, community, and restraint. So next time you hear the wind howling through the trees, or feel hunger gnawing at your patience, ask yourself, where's the line? And would you If you enjoyed this deep dive into dark folklore, like the video, subscribe, and let me know in the comments, which myth or legend should we explore next?